of doing double-sided just to save on the cost, and it worked. So it don't cost like $2.20 or something, $2.10. I was like, yeah, that's what I mean. It's so much cheaper than to actually have a printer at home, which is always what you want, unless you're busy. Yeah, I literally stopped by the bakery to pick up some treats, so that's what's in my bag. I got a fruit tart today. Usually it's all crazy about custard. I'm like, unless it was a custard and cream donut. I actually wanted these long things that look like profiteroles that have cream in them. Actually wanted one of those. But then I realized I have the donuts with the jam and the cream. And it doesn't come with the chocolate. I wanted the chocolate on top. So I got a donut instead. It's tossing between a donut and an apple turnover. And I got the donut. And then they had these really nice looking fruit tarts. And I was like, they look nice. So I also splurged on a fruit tart and a Tink loaf. So $15. I really shouldn't splurge every time I walk into town, otherwise that could get very expensive and become a little bit of a problem. But for just general, on an average week, it's okay. Generally, I should just that's what I used to do when I was young. Unless I was buying an apple and an apple cider, which at the time cost, roughly $5. Unless I was buying those, I'd literally tell myself, put your head down, drink on your water, and don't buy anything. So unless I was in the mood for an apple and apple cider, I would tell myself, don't buy anything. So that's kind of what I have to tell myself. You just put your head down and don't buy anything. Don't think it'd be a nice idea to buy one thing and end up buying 3 things. Like the ice cream expense yesterday. I was like, well, when am I going to come down here again? Probably not for weeks' time, so I spent $10 on junk food. That's 2 ice creams and a drink. Thinking I wouldn't come down here again. Sold something on my way back. Had to pack it up and have it to take it down today. Well, I now also bought that $35 bracelet. And then today I was like, I feel like, chocolate profiterole say. I was like, may as well buy the jam and cream donut. Oh, and look, a tart. Might as well buy that. Oh, and look, a Tink loaf. Might as well buy that. And so, all in all, another $15. Which is not what you want to do when you're every time you're coming into town. It's like, that's right. It'll probably be weeks before I spend any more money. But I didn't get to work this week. I just don't want to do this new job. I'm so cruxed on the lack of ambition to do it. I'm just like, it's a waste of time. I waste 4 hours doing nothing. It's just not a very good thing for me. If I was down and desperate and living by myself, sure, I would crux onto that job and be full blasting. But since I'm not, I really don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it. So my lack of ambition is directly because it does not pay you anything much if I don't see a sale within sight. So I know they're out there, but seriously, I'm gonna get fired before I get a sale. That's my thoughts about it. So today I'm not even gonna bother with it. I might do it a little bit this morning. I generally don't want to bother with it anymore. Commission only work if you don't get like a sale an hour or 2 hours. It feels like no point doing it. I used to just do it 8 to 5 until I got fired because your hours outweigh your stats. And then the guy wasted time or fired. But sometimes it works. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I've got like a few sales today, and other times it's like no one was interested, and then you get fired next day after a week of trailing KPIs. This one generally per shift, one sale, and you're like hunting one sale per shift. It seems ludicrous. You get headaches. You come to a point where you don't want to talk anymore. You just feel like you could be doing something else. And you're like, seriously, if I got 5 cents, I would have more than tripled my income. It's actually pretty overcast today. I only half expected it to start raining, and it hasn't, like I presumed. That's why I was going to leave the house without the umbrella. But I took it anyways, and it's that extra heavy weight in my bag. Because I've got a pretty good hefty umbrella. I think I bought it off my deal or something. And it's this one that can almost defeat, almost but not quite defeat, twirlies, whirlwinds, cyclones. I went spent a lot of money on completely windproof clothing, so windproof boots, windproof jacket, windproof stockings, windproof umbrella. Besides the fact that I was robbed of it, but of all these things, but it was actually pretty empowering to have completely windproof clothing, walking around in storms and being like, you can defeat any storm with these clothes on. I was like, and then people realized, hey, you've got awesome windproof clothing. At one stage I had windproof makeup on too. Like, really into all these sort of things, but then people realize you've got something awesome, and then they go out of their way to snatch it from you. But they're good. I like to walk around wearing those things because it's like you feel like, oh my gosh, nature cannot touch me. So I'm getting there. almost there. Almost back home. It takes a little while. I do like using computers at the library because they're so easy to use, they're so fast, they're so speedy. And you just don't want to sit there around it as though you don't use the computer every day when you do. And then you tell yourself, oh no, you got to get off the computer and start walking back. But I was enjoying my problem-free computer, whereas the ones that I use are pretty slow, not a really good one, and it takes forever for them to do things. Whereas at the library, like, nice and speedy, nice and easy. You can do printing without waiting several minutes for something to lag before opening something else. It's a mini termite mound. There's vicious ants in this area. We get the worst ants. It's like they hibernate under the ground and then come out when they're starving, because they just climb all, like if you walk outside after they've been underground for a while, they literally just climb all over you, start biting on everything, go off your boots, go under your trousers, go up to your underwear, bite, and you're like, ants. They're vicious. They attack in swarms. And they're not even the biggest ant in the world, they're the small ants. The bigger ones don't do that kind of climbing. The bigger ones are generally smarter and avoid big people in their shoes. Whereas the small ones, they just climb up and start getting over everything, start biting, and if you stop and stand for like 2 seconds, they just take the opportunity to rampage from the ground up until they're up in your shirt and your shoulders, everywhere. You're like, what a vicious pack of ants. They're the most vicious ants ever. I read an article recently that fire ants are apparently like a problem threat or something. It's like, fire ants aren't anything compared to these little ants that we have. They're just little black ants. They're like 2 or 3 millimeters tall. And they're just vicious. It's crazy. When they swarmed throughout the chicken coop, and even it was like, oh, I just leave the chickens in there. It's like I didn't really want to because I thought chickens looked very uncomfortable. I just had the truck that I passed come up behind me and was like, turn as I walked off the road, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was there. Didn't even look behind me. Ever since yesterday, I've seriously been wanting to go to the beach. I like quiet beaches that are relaxing, and just so that you can slip into the water and not worry about waves. Most people I know don't like those beaches, they like the ones with the big waves, but that's because I cannot swim. When I used to be able to swim, I would be like, any beach, anytime. But now that I cannot actually officially swim because I just don't practice it or live near water or have a pool or anything, it's usually like, oh, just the quiet beaches, the ones which you just waddle into and sit in there. That will do me. So, but I never used to like handle waves, so I used to like dive under the water, get behind the waves, and then rest on top of the water or tread the water. But now I can't tread water. I can't do anything, so I'm better off just stepping into the water and sitting than actually swimming. So That's what I feel like doing, most of all. So I'm almost there. Just about there. That was nice. Nice but exhausting.